I think the state of Vermont has a skill set, a muscle memory that allows them to work with organizations like mine better.
Vermont's domicile is really good environment to do business with. Not just the physical environment. I think it's really good for business.
We made the right move because the Vermont captives have grown unbelievable, the number of captives that are domiciled in Vermont. So they do something right.
Captive legislation was first enacted in 1981. There was a small group of people who were impressed with the business, captive insurance, and so they thought an industry in Vermont would have a significant economic benefit to a small state like Vermont, and they were right.
Industry came to Vermont and said, we need a better onshore domicile. We need a better state that cares about this more, and so because we have such a small legislature, because we have such a small economy, it got attention.
The initial legislation was drafted from ground up.
There was a good idea, there was no pride of authorship, there was a willingness to work together and work quickly. Because it looked like if we did it right, that future would be bright for Vermont playing an ongoing and helpful role in captive insurance.
When the hard market began in 1985, things started to develop really quickly. It was a phone call every day, and it was a crisis.
They were able to respond, and they became a Vermont domicile of choice in terms of location for these large corporations to establish captives.
We've got a regulatory system that has decades of experience. There have been times when the legislature has had to make adjustments in the law. Our history shows that on a bipartisan basis, when there's a necessary legislative change, it'll be made.
We deal with executives from Fortune 500 and Fortune 1000 companies and companies around the world. The whole gamut of the insurance world comes to Vermont to help solve insurance problems for large companies.
What you have here in Vermont is a very strong infrastructure, but of also very primary importance is the regulators. They have a reputation of stability and certainty in terms of how they regulate captives, and that's something that not a lot of captives can identify with.
40 years, Vermont's really built up great infrastructure of accountants, captive managers, legal firms. Everyone's here to provide that support to form the captive and then continue to run the captive.
So Vermont has over 1,200 captives licensed in the state. Those companies are from all around the world.
They're going to get good feedback from the regulators. They're going to have access to the best service providers.
Being domiciled in Vermont has played a great role in United Educators' ability to innovate and evolve over time. There have been coverage expansions that we've made to respond to activities that just weren't even thought of 34 years ago. And whenever we need to expand some coverage, and we believe that it might be somewhat challenging within the context of liability and insurance, we make the call.
You can structure your policy to do almost anything you want to do and get it done. In Vermont, the regulators and the whole industry is really good at tweaking the law, still staying within the spirit of the law and the boundaries, but allowing good things to happen.
It is easy access when you have a question and you want to reach out to someone, or if you want to get a hold of someone at the DFR, it's easy to kind of know who to go to and to get the answer that you need. Everyone's on the same page that the success of the captive is what's important.
Because we're having that dialogue, it allows us to think more creatively, more innovatively about whatever that matter is we're talking about at that moment, and how that projects forward, because the needs do evolve. And that's been a good partnership.
Businesses weren't the same 40 years ago as they are now. Their risks 40 years ago aren't the same as they are now. So I think that willingness to change and the willingness to always be looking at it and always looking to improve is the secret sauce.
If you have really good domicile environment, you have all the service providers you need there. You can make decision quick, you can get evaluation done, and then support your internal review and approval procedure. So all these things are really important for us to make decision until we can make it happen.
They're professionals at it. And you look at their numbers, I would recommend the state of Vermont to, without reservation. It worked out for us. They've guided us over the years on how to manage our company better.
Doing things at the speed of business that business is used to, that's something that not every regulatory department does. But with the Vermont's Captive Insurance Division absolutely is operating at our speed. And that's big.
You can tell from how many awards they get from different conferences or different media, and not just for the US itself, they win lots of international awards. So everything just shows they definitely receive good recognition from the industry.
Vermont really does want to help its captives deliver good service to its owners. That's what makes it the gold standard. That's part of what I believe makes it stand out in the world of captive domicile.
Here, you find people fully understand what you think, what you want, and then can provide your solution. That's the best you can get, right?
Vermont will never rest on its laurels. We're not just to be number one, but just to be the best. We're going to always change and adapt as necessary.
The infrastructure, the industry, the regulators, state government, the legislature, the model that we've created is the foundation for our future success.
That culture that we have in Vermont that is really unique has really allowed captives to thrive in the state of Vermont and has opened up doors for so many possibilities with the captive insurance industry.